Hello, and welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to show you how you can put text and graphics onto a 2-point perspective grid and how you can edit them, of course, after you have them on there. So as I've mentioned in other tutorials, I have a separate tutorial that shows you how to actually edit the grids. So this one is just going to focus on how we put things onto the grids and then edit them afterwards. So let's get started. We're going to go up to View and we're going to select Perspective Grid. And in this case, select 2-point perspective. And there's my grid. If I want, well, let's bring it again, best practices, pay attention to your grid up here into the upper left corner. Right now it's selected to my right-hand wall. But if I want to change that, I would click with my perspective tool. And then I can change where I want it to go. So we'll go ahead and start with the left-hand side of the wall, the blue. As you can see, the color matches my perspective. And we're going to put this T on here, and then we'll put some graphics on underneath it. So I'm going to start with one layer, and I'm going to take and select what I want onto the grid first with my select tool. Then I'm going to scroll down to my perspective tools, and I'm going to select the perspective selection tool. And then I can just drag it right onto my grid. And then once it's on there, I can edit it, scale it. I'm going to take it all the way over to here. As always, best practices when using effects and stuff like that for logos and stuff, don't distort it so much that they can't read the text. All right, so from there, we're going to go on to, we're going to put the K onto my right-hand wall. So to do that, I got to go back to select, click on what I want onto the grid, move it onto my pasteboard, click on my perspective tools, and I'm going to select the perspective grid. Click on my right hand, orange matching orange. And now I'm going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to select my letter, perspective tools, perspective selection, just drag it onto my grid. Scale it up. So if I want to put graphics or add to this, I'm going to do it on another layer underneath, so don't cover my letters. So on another layer, I'm going to click on my selection tool. I'm going to select this red square. I'm going to cut it and make sure that I put it actually on layer 2. Here, whoops. Let's lock that layer so we don't move anything. All right. So I'm going to put this behind the T. So I'm going to go to my perspective grid tool, click on the left-hand side, and then click on my perspective selection, drag it down, and there it is. Scale this nice and big, but we're going to keep it height and distance of the grid. I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to paste my square that I just copied. It's on my second layer. I'm going to come back to my grid, perspective grid tool. I'm going to click on the right-hand side now. Object selected, go back to perspective selection, drag down, and there it is right behind it. Scale this guy up. Okay. So say I want to edit these guys like colors and things like that. So we're gonna, with the graphics, I can just click on the colors and I can just change their colors. As you can see, I can click on the square and we'll just set that to a darker square. With the text, however, let's lock this layer down. So you can see it kind of creates that illusion of depth there, light and shadow. All right, so we're going to lock this layer. And now if I click on my T and I'm on the left-hand side of it, see how I'm clicking on the fill color and it's not doing anything, it's not changing it. No. What we got to do is, if you go see right up here at the top, you have where I can edit the text, or I can edit the perspective. I'm going to click on edit the text, and then this is going to show up. And this is what allows me to change the color. I'll change it to light blue. And when I'm done, I can click back and I can click out. So if I want to change the K, similarly, I'm going to click on the object. It's going to say, what do I want to edit? I want to edit the text. So I'm going to click on the edit of the text, and we're going to change this to dark blue. And click on my selection tool and click my little black back arrow here. Let's take a look at this without the grid. My grid. Yeah. Now, with the grid off and things like that, you can also edit things. So if I want to change it, oh, nope, can't do it. So it's one of those things of when you have it on there, if you want to adjust it, the graphics are fine, but text, you usually have to have the grid on. So if you want to edit this further, then you would have to click on it, and you can see that by default, it comes back up. So if I want to edit it some more, we'll make it black. Oops. And then I just click out of my perspective. It's black. Gray again, can't edit it. I got to edit the perspective object. So we'll set it. I'm going to change that to like a gray. Actually, let's set it to a darker gray. And then I exit out. There we go. So that's how we put things on 2-point perspective and edit them, whether it's texture, graphics, in Adobe Illustrator.